Yeah, it's one of those games that on one hand you can look at the stat sheet and say, wow, I just added up the rushing and passing numbers here, 272 for Texas A&M, 443 for Arkansas, and it looks like a decided margin, and it is. And Arkansas did get that jump out 17-0, but they entered the fourth quarter. And we're not talking about late in the game. We're talking about entering the fourth quarter down by a touchdown.
With about 7 minutes to go, right? They had, I think, about 7 minutes in the third quarter to go. They were within a touchdown. So you're talking about, close to 20 minutes of the game left to go. It was a one-score game. That was one of the stats will tell you that it was pretty lopsided. And in some way it was with the way Arkansas controlled the game. But A&M had their opportunities too in the second. They had their momentum in the second half, just inside the stadium. Kind of felt like the crowd was more involved. The crowd was getting into it. Arkansas was down to their second string quarterback as well, so you kind of felt like things might be tilting in favor of A&M. And credit to Arkansas, they were able to withstand that heat and move on. But you're right. For as lopsided as it felt, it was a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, and if you don't have that turnover with the interception, it could have been a different outcome. But that was a big moment in the game.
Isaiah Spiller had the big play to get them back in the game, the 67-yarder. Otherwise, only 12 carries total for him. Jimbo Fisher addressed some questions concerning the play calling and maybe getting away from the run when you've got your best player in the backfield and he's hot and he just ripped one off for 67.
Yeah, he I think in some ways I think he hasn't loved the line of questioning about that, about the decision not to run Spiller more late in the game. But he said it simply came down to a possession deal, and they just, after that touchdown run, just didn't have enough possessions to get him the ball. And they had he said they had a couple run pass options called after that touchdown run, and said Zach Calzada made the right play. And, and one of them, and he said one of them was actually the 21-yard throw to Ainias Smith right before the interception. So he made the note that it was there were attempts to all where Arkansas was lining up with their formation dictated the pass. And they had one run, I believe, with Devon Achane that went for 8 yards. And then noted that the play on the interception was supposed to be a screen underneath to Isaiah Spiller. And they were hoping to get him more involved in the passing game, especially with some of the injuries to receivers and things like that, they just weren't quite able to get him involved. And he talked about those little details. Or they tried a screen to Devon Achane that had worked it was how A&M scored their first touchdown in the New Mexico game, and mentioned, the offensive line missed the block. And that play went nowhere. And it was just those little things that he said. But when it came to not giving Isaiah Spiller the ball more, he said, they were always trying to get him the ball. But on that one, he said it simply came down to possessions, because once they were down two scores, you could have stuck with the run potentially, but at that point they needed to throw the ball.